Hey there, Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for April 13th through 20th, 2026. Well, here we are in April 2026, some of the most potent and intense astrology of our lifetimes, with this lineup of planets in Aries. A lineup of planets in Aries is one thing, but it's another thing coming on the heels of this whole year of drama, as Saturn and Neptune last year moved into the sign of Aries from Pisces, back into Pisces, and then now they're both settled in Aries. But we didn't really feel that reset. They came together in February. February 21st, Saturn and Neptune for their official exact conjunction, even though they came within a degree of each other in 2025, they didn't actually meet up until February 2026 at 0 degrees, 47 minutes. And so the configuration that we're feeling right now has to do with this whole last year of the play of Saturn and Neptune dancing on the edge of Pisces and Aries, speaking to completing and clearing up the Piscean age so that we can restart our timeline in Aries. Saturn rules time and reality. Neptune, dreams, delusions, possibilities. And so together, Saturn and Neptune is a restart, a joining of the dream and the possibilities and time itself and reality itself. Now we can see this and feel this in our world, that everything is upside down and inside out. And it has been for quite a while. In fact, the Piscean age was kind of flavored, the whole era, 2,000 years, flavored by this energy of the good being called evil and the evil saying that they're good, and manipulating, deceiving, and controlling humanity in order to parasitically feed through controlled religions and structures, government structures, taxation. And so we have to understand that this whole last year, and in fact the last couple of years with Saturn in Pisces, really about completing the energy of the Piscean age. And so of course we're going to have a bloom of that. And that's what this time has been about. So it was this huge relief of Saturn and Neptune kind of establishing something new in Aries and finally coming together in February. But at that point, we were already feeling the Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So it was like Mercury's like, wait a minute, not so fast. We haven't understood completely, because Mercury is our conceptual awareness, our understanding. Something's happened in this last 6 months that our personal planets are interacting and communicating with each other in a way they haven't in this whole in the time that I've been studying astrology. What this says is that this time, this energy of Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries is a reimagining of the potential, a reactivation of the true whole potential. That's Aries. Aries has the seed, the full potential of what it wants to be. And no matter how off course it gets in its journey, like this Earth evolution, that imprint, that blueprint, that original, what we've been calling the Gaia codes, still intact. And so in a way, Neptune was representing this, Saturn representing the laws and the rules and the way we've been doing things, and especially in the Piscean age based on deception and manipulation and delusions. And so the energy of them both making it into Aries together and was a remedy, an energy of a remedy, like a light, a spark, It's like, oh, wait a minute. Like the delusions, the lies, the deception are just that. Delusions, the lies, and deceptions designed almost to be so delusional that they bring us to a point that we see through all lies and all deception, and we see through the Maya of this experience. And so many supernova souls and humanity in general going through this disillusion, this kind of like, well, what even matters? This falling away. This is the glorious demolition of all the false structures that have been holding us but not supporting us. Couldn't you just say that about all the systems of our world, that are so messed up and so upside down and backwards, like our healthcare, our education, our monetary system. And it's like, okay, we're going to hold you, but we're not going to support you. We're going to hold you, not support you, so we can continue to access your energy. Because the main thing about this reset, this time that we're in, is the energy of Uranus coming to the end of Taurus. Now, Uranus going into Taurus in 2018, we started getting the message that like this era, this time is about humanity preparing itself for the abundance that wants to come, for the jubilee, the golden age that's due to us after everything that's been stolen. It must be returned for us to move forward. And yet we're stuck. If humanity does not feel worthy of the abundance that's rightfully theirs. And so this is what's coming to be revealed, is that all this false, part of the delusions and deceptions, of course, is what's the biggest delusion that we fell into in the Piscean age is what is actual wealth? Is it the coin that you trade to get your items? Or is it the energetic frequency, the resonance, the presence, the God consciousness, the connection? Because we're finding that in this organic connection as a human soul in a body to Mother Earth, and that brings us into the oneness consciousness, and the technology that we have in our body connected to Mother Earth's technology can help allow us to manifest and create immediately whatever we need. And so it's like, as we see the true wealth of the world, which is energetic wealth, which is all tied into the advanced technologies available in the human body. And so these technologies have been again and again hidden and stolen from us in order for the control forces to continue to parasitically feed on our energy. As long as we don't know the incredible intrinsic value of what we hold, we'll continue to just hand it over, especially because we've been coerced and manipulated and traumatized over many lifetimes. And this is some very important information that's coming through at this, like kind of confirming we're at the shift of ages, confirming this is the turning of the tide, confirming that there is no going back to that way. And yes, we might be sitting here in the precipice in the complete unknown, but there is nothing behind us from the past that can support us and who we really are anymore. And this is the radical thing, because it's like the energies that we're going through right now, this disclosure, this revealing, and it's becoming more and more clear. Those that do have abundance of the natural birthright of a human soul and a body, a direct connection to source or to mother, you could say, or not. And so it's just kind of like, it's interesting how, Yeshua in the Bible talks about this end times, where it'll be like, there'll be two in the house, two in the bed, and then one will be taken and one will stay, and this is kind of what we're seeing. We're like, wow, one of us is not like the other. And it's been so difficult because for SuperNova Souls, for the chosen ones, for these organic souls who have been here from the beginning of Mother Earth's, whether you incarnated in different periods of time or throughout the whole evolution or not, as a SuperNova Soul, you are connected with this master realm that was there, present, witness, and a part of Mother Earth's conception and the dream of what she wants to become, what she wanted to become as a goddess. A living, breathing goddess. And her devotion, her compassion is to be an ascension planet for humans, to have this spiritual evolution. And then her body, her sacred form, taken over to such a degree with these forces that have no reverence. And this is what's becoming the evidence, right? You'll know them by their fruits, because the energies that are not hooked up to source and have an organic soul have nothing to offer absolutely nothing to bring to the table. And we know this feeling, SuperNova Souls, where you're hooked into this conversation where, there's no even room for you to get a word in edgewise. And there seems to be just this like kind of a feeling, where you'll just kind of get this sense like, this seems to be draining me. Like this person could be talking to the wall and have the same interaction with what they, whether they, in their ability to actually connect and receive from you. Okay, so this is the evidence coming forward of the true wealth of the world. And guess what, SuperNova Soul? That's you. And this is why it's been so hard. And this is where we get to this redemption, though, this greater understanding of the bigger picture of what we've been doing, why we've been doing it, and the glorious celebration of the victory that is coming because we did it. And this is one of the messages that I think I forgot to mention last week that's coming through from Mother, really important. We're going through tumultuous times right now. We're kind of in between, right? Back and forth in the Piscean age and the Aries age, old timeline, new timeline, old us, new us, and just kind of falling apart in the middle, which is a good thing, right? All of our lower ego constructs and all that. But she wants to point out that you're starting to process the trauma and experiences that you've been going through. And you didn't realize how traumatic, how wound up your nervous system has been. And that we're kind of having a reset, a realignment of timelines that have been all tried to be split in these recent years. It's like almost like we're careening into that one timeline, and then control forces tried to, do whatever they could do, like COVID, to kind of get us to separate from each other rather than come together. And it's interesting that we're having this flashback right now. And to kind of seeing through all of this. And she says that for lifetimes and for these last years, you've been on the run, kind of a feeling of like getting through, right? Okay, I can do it. I'm just going to do it. Just keep going. You're so strong. You're so powerful to make it through what you've made it through. And she says, hey, the fact that you're processing it, that your nervous system is beginning to unwind and heal, it says that it's getting better. Okay, but our nervous system, the way we're programmed with the reptilian brain takeover and infiltration in our communication between our higher brain and our lower brain, it's hard to reset from stress and to understand that we've been in this low-grade PTSD in our nervous system for so long, and we kind of got used to it. So the fact that you're feeling things, processing things, having this space for things to come up, that means that it's getting better. She wanted to just remind you of that, and to be really gentle, really loving, and really compassionate with yourself as your nervous system unwinds. The energies and the frequencies coming in are like deactivating the trash DNA, and all the garbage. And so it's like that stuff has to come out. In true healing, homeopathy shows this, and the true, it's a tenet of Mother's natural laws and rules. When there's true healing in the body, there's an expression of that energy leaving. And that's what we're experiencing. So these patterns are like loop-de-loop, and you might find yourself in intense triggered emotions, but that's what's been suppressed. And to be gentle with yourself and be like, okay, my nervous system's unwinding. I'm learning a different pattern. The fact that this is coming up means I'm healing. Things are better. There's more space. Like once she says, you can't process until you're out, till the danger is gone, but your body still feels and is still going to live in the energy of that danger and that nervous system heightened awareness until you unwind and heal and have space. And that's kind of the process that we're in right now in April 2026, some of the most intense astrology of our lifetimes. And so let's talk about this planetary lineup that's happening that really kicks off with the Aries new moon that happens on April 17th. And so the Aries new moon happens at 27 degrees of Aries, coming to the very end degrees, this completion of this owning, this, what the Aries is bringing us right now, this picture of the true whole human potential. and the full potential that has not yet been expressed in all of us, re-triggered. And so the end of Aries has this culmination, and guess who's right there? Chiron at 26 degrees of Aries, 1 degree away from the sun and the moon, because on a new moon, the sun and the moon are together. And so the moon will be crossing over Chiron just before the sun crossing over Chiron. So the sun crosses over Chiron the day before the new moon on the 16th, and this moon will cross over within that next 24 hour, or in that next 12 hours. So it's like this incredible feeling of culmination, like coming together and joining, and it's like this impending feeling. Now, traditional astrology, and it's all over the internet, right? Like this interpretation of this time, it's like World War III and Armageddon, and Mercury and all this, and Aries and Mars and home sign, and it just war and destruction. And it's like, wait a minute, okay? There's more to Mars than war and destruction. If we throw out Mars and try to get rid of war and destruction, we've gotten rid of our divine masculine as well. We've gotten rid of our warrior who will stand up and fight. Is this what's happened? Oh, so much war and aggression and genocide that people pull back and demasculate the masculine. And so it's like, no, we need some strength, some power. And the cool thing about this planetary story playing out is that Mars is now informed. Mars is on the team with Mother Earth. It's clear. And so Mars in his home sign of Aries is like, yeah, I'm fighting for the full potential that I didn't get to become, he says. I only got to be a warrior with a bad name, because then he became all the evil in the world. But our masculine is just the masculine. It's an essential component. And Mars is that. Mars is our fire. Mars is the ruler of Aries, brings that full potential of the human, and it also brings this righteousness, this understanding that Aries will, the sun sign Aries are the ones that will defend the weak and the righteous, right? They will stand up to the bullies. Do you understand how important this energy is for us right now? So it's not war and Armageddon. Yes, it's the final battle and the end of all wars. And we know this in our heart and our soul, because nothing else will do. The truth of all this time is that we're moving, the reset of time is a reset to Mother Earth's organic original dream. And that didn't include genocide and war and manipulation. It's support of humanity and evolution. And so it's our birthright to have this next chapter of abundance where we can co-create and create and heal and have the space and the support to live a beautiful life. And so it's powerful that this reclaiming of Earth goes right along with the beginning of the Aquarian Age and 200 years of a new Renaissance. And all the signs are coming forward of this, that our devotion to spirit, to source, to ourselves, is actually the pursuit of beauty and expression, creative expression of the beauty of nature, the laws, the rules, honoring God, the divine, and Mother through our creative expression, and pursuing the beautiful, that we don't build or make or create anything that's not beautiful, because that's the laws and rules of Mother Earth. And we're really finding this kind of her proclamation, her declaration of independence, and the message of this coming more and more clear and strong in these times, confirming that Saturn-Neptune conjunction in February was the start, the remedy given of this new dream, this new chapter. Boom, here's the possibilities. What are you going to do with it? And that's where we're at in this strange in-between time. Now, the next marker in this little this timeline reset period of time that we're in, the turning of the tables, happened when the sun went over Saturn. And when the sun went over Saturn, that was at the end of March, and that was this energy of an interception of the two zodiac systems, the tropical zodiac and the sidereal zodiac, right? So it's kind of like no, there's an actual line that says it's a timeline, a reset. So that was our kind of crossroads, right? So it was the trigger. Okay, two line. It's almost like in February, these timelines are parallel. They're running parallel. They're coming together. They're starting to resonance. And then with that Saturn conjunct, the sun crossed, so we could leap. Now, this configuration that we're leading up to, Mercury approaching Mars and Saturn at 7 degrees of Aries. And it's like all this other stuff's in Aries too. And we'll talk about that. But this is just this remarkably precise alignment of a perfect day. 7, 7, 7. And guess what? Also, leading up just a couple of days before that conjunction, this epic planetary conjunction with Mercury, Mars, and Saturn in Aries at 7 degrees, the north node of the moon in Pisces. So Mercury moves over into Aries on the 16th, just before this new moon and before this conjunction, which happens on the 19th and 20th. And so Mercury starts it all off by, Mercury's at the end degrees of Pisces, and then we'll move into Aries. And as it moves into Aries on the 16th, it's like boom, and we're right in that new moon energy. And so it starts this chapter. And when Mercury catches up to Mars, then in that, it's like about, less than a week after moving into Aries, then 5 days or so. And that's like a feeling of anchoring in to the new track, like anchoring in. Okay, we're hovering around being like, which timeline, which is, gotta get to the best frequency, and there's all this confusion, and then it's like, boom. And that's the energy of this conjunction. So the North Node at that time of the new moon moves back. Okay, so the North Node and the South Node move backwards through the zodiac. And the nodes of the moon are the interception between the sun and the moon's orbit. And so that's where the eclipses happen, when the sun and the moon come close to the nodes of the moon. So the nodes of the moon rule destiny and patterns for the collective. And the North Node has an energy of like, this is the only way you can move forward. This is the path forward. You do it this way. So for this last year, we've had the North Node in Pisces. And what does that mean? The only way forward is back through the dark? Haven't we had enough of the torture chamber? How many loop-de-loops do we need to make into the dungeon of persecution? I guess until we're completely done. And that is the message of this week's astrology. Because the North Node I believe it's on the 17th, on the day of the new moon, the North Node moves from 8 degrees to 7 degrees. Now, the North Node has been at 8 degrees since mid-February, 2 months of the North Node at 8 degrees Pisces. That was for eclipse season, right? So it was like a holder, a marker in time, 8 degrees Pisces. And 8 is a number of transformation. And it's like going backwards to redo and undo the persecution dynamics and energies of the Piscean age. And so, but get this, the North Node moving to 7 degrees finally, after 2 months, it's progressing, but it goes backwards, just like the shift of ages through the zodiac. The nodes and the shift of ages, like Piscean age, then the Aquarian age, they go backwards, right? So they're connected. It's like the nodes are the mini version of the great shift of ages. So the North Node in Pisces says, yeah, we're still kind of in the age of Pisces, but then at the end of June, the nodes will move into Aquarius and Leo. Very different energy, right? And so, but the North Node making it to 7 degrees Pisces, and then that means it's exactly one sign over from Mercury, Mars, and Saturn at 7 degrees of Aries, okay? So that's called a semi-sextile, 30 degrees apart. 7 degrees Pisces, 7 degrees Aries. And that is a magical configuration that has an energy of working together across the divide. So it's got an energy of enemies, long-time enemies, realizing that maybe they want to work together against a common enemy type of thing, right? It's a coming together. And that's why this so-called war that's going on is not making any sense. The allies that were allies are not allies, and you can't tell what side anybody's really on. And it's like multiple factions of each government kind of fighting each other. And that's kind of a sign of the times, we'd say, right? Because we're realizing that this is not a war between nations. It is, and we found ourselves as simple, naive, and beautiful nature-loving souls, mother-loving souls in a galactic war for our lives and our soul. SuperNova Souls. It's been quite traumatic. That was the Piscean age for us. We agreed on some level to be part of these persecutions, to be like Jesus, Yeshua. And it's just like, why? Is it we feel that bad about ourselves? Or is there something we really need to make up for? Or did we just buy into a weird story about self-sacrifice? Now it's all becoming clear. This marker, this week, the semi-sextile between the north node of the moon and Mercury, Mars, and Saturn at 7 degrees, that's 4 sevens. 4 sevens is 28, 2 and 8 is a 1. We're in a 1 year. And numerology in 2026 is number 1, so it's a new start. So it's saying that we can't restart until we clear up these misunderstandings of the past age. And that's why we're going through everything we're going through right now. You know, something's coming to mind about all those that hated Jesus, right? That just hated him and just so threatened by Yeshua, what he was bringing, because it just really was, it was upending every structure that made everybody feel safe, you know? And there was the ones that also saw him for who he was and received with the energy that he brought. Now, how did those ones who hated on him so much feel after they realized like he came back to life after, you know? He could rematerialize his body. Like, oh, maybe we should have been nicer to him. You know? So there's something in the consciousness of humanity that has to do with the karma of the earth evolution. And if we can look in a bigger picture of what Yeshua was doing, trying to take on the karma of humanity so they didn't have to suffer so much. You know? And that's evident in that story, that not everybody could receive that impulse. And then it was part of the story for those, a lot of people came to the teachings after they saw, you know, then they had to repent. So we don't come back to God, to consciousness, to Mother without some repentance of having gone so far away from that connection. And so maybe this is all an opportunity for humanity to have that experience. And we as the chosen ones who walked with Yeshua, and we kind of got on that vibe, we're like, oh, this is cool. Sure, we're like here. This is cool. We'll be on this train. This is such awesome energy. And little did we know that it was like a path of 2,000 years of persecution, being hated and exiled, tortured and killed, burned at the stake, you name it, imprisoned for a lifetime, beheaded, you know. And so we're wondering why we went through all this now that we're starting to come out of the PTSD of the Piscean age as chosen souls, as those who know that they're human and in connection with God. And, you know, you fought, you never gave that up. Everything tried to gaslight you for 2,000 years, especially in this last. It's like we've had a huge loop-de-loop of the whole Piscean age ever since COVID, with all of this stuff playing out, the exact same things, right? Persecutions and the silencing and the genocides and it just had to replay right in our face, you know, so that we can't. It's interesting because Mom says, like, once you really can relax in your nervous system and unwind from this, you're going to not even remember how bad it was. So in a way, if you've been really struggling, really suffering, write it down, because you're going to want to go back and look at it and confirm and validate for yourself how bad it was, because you're going to feel so much better. You can't even imagine. This is the reset that should be available in our psyche and our tissues. With our reptilian brain and our human brain, there's a natural reset. Like, okay, the threat's over. Go ahead, go back to peace. Mainline back to peace, just like the animals can do. We haven't been able to do that. That's part of the reptilian takeover in the DNA. So we're healing this, and just remember that this is the process we're in, because we are rebirthing and restarting something completely new. And so those memories of trauma in the past in our subconscious can't be there, because we're moving into co-creator status in the Aquarian age. So we'd be co-creating more of that subconscious trauma, see? And the parasites, they'd be big parasites in the abundant world. So we got to get this all sorted out. And it's interesting how these forces of control have gate-kept us from our own technology for so long. And it turns out that it's all projection, because we're the gatekeepers of the technology. And they've been putting so much fear into us of their power, and it's like tanks and guns have nothing against this. Like our light body is so powerful, and that's what Yeshua was showing us. It's an ancient mystery school that was always wisdom that was always kept deeply secret and hidden. And Yeshua said, okay, we're giving this to all of humanity right now. And of course, that's going to really piss off the structured religions that are feeding off the taxes and the energetic sorrow and the luge of people through religious paradigms, And all the people today that think they're defending Jesus, it's like, hey, you guys, he himself said the kingdom of heaven is within. You're not supposed to worship him. You're supposed to find that in a direct, intimate connection, which is also you. And so the whole Christian, kind of church and structure is just, it's going to have to topple as well. And that's kind of a difficult, painful experience. But what's happening is this kind of extreme views, extreme reaction. But it's clear that at some point we're going to have to see the other side. We're going to have to be like, oh my gosh, I was wrong, and repent. Now, there's something weird about this, because there's this energy of like, okay, so Yeshua did this thing and he was supposedly like repenting our sins, so it could be, clearing our karma basically, so we could have an easier time. And yet it's like, where's the benefit of this? Have we seen it? Like, where's the download benefit of all he went through? And actually we as that group of souls, right? That surrounded him, prepared for that. He's an individual who's been here from the beginning of this whole story, incarnated many times. We've been with him. There's many, many souls. And so it's like he's the first one. But he's showing us that we all can do it. And so he says the Christ is within everyone. You all have the potential to do this. Don't worship me as a god. And that's what's got to get worked out. But those of us that were really with that energy went through this path that maybe I don't think we could have known. If we knew as a soul, we wouldn't have really been able to go forward with it. But all the persecutions. Now, this is a really interesting thing, because so many supernova souls are like, gosh, all this past life stuff I went through, what did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? I must have really pissed off God or whatever, just like the story trying to figure this out. And it turns out that the more that what Jesus and Yeshua was really bringing is a compassion to earth. And Rudolf Steiner talks about that he was another incarnation of the astral body of Buddha, right? So we're talking about the Buddhist stream too coming through. It was like Yeshua's bringing all these streams of religion, the Hindu, the Buddha, the Celtic, the Native American, all together. This crisscross, and that all happened at that time. And so that was really the energy of what he was bringing as well. So now we went on and had our own persecutions. Maybe we thought we were being like Jesus, or we didn't know what we were doing. We thought we were going to be the martyr, the savior ourselves, but it's so powerful, because this is a really important message that's come through from Mother, this really important clarity for us. And the message is at this time, this astrology is confirmation, and it's a timeline marker that we have succeeded. What we have succeeded in is erasing the catastrophe timeline. This is why it feels like there's nothing from the past that can hold you. No human soul is appropriately placed on the catastrophe timeline. Why? How? How did that happen? That was our sacrifice in the Piscean age. We've erased the catastrophe timeline. So maybe we were doing this on a soul level or higher self, trying to make up or clean up or heal Atlantean catastrophes, right? Where it was our technology, but it was manipulated away from us and misused. And then we were blamed to keep us from ever feeling confident enough to use our technologies. If we felt confident enough and to use our technologies and we had any bit of lower retribution rage, these forces would be so over right now. Like, it's only because we're so nice. And that's actually the energy of what Yeshua was bringing, like showing us that the children, it is, you have to be like a child to get into the kingdom of heaven. What he's really talking about is the innocent human soul, that Adam Cadmon, that what spark of Aries, right? The pure potential that the soul wants to be. And so we're working with this energy of that potential. And then that was pre-Atlantean time. And then in Atlantean time and the end of Lemurian time, it feels like there was this infiltration of Luciferic forces. The Luciferic forces are about the feel-good spiritual ascension, kind of spiritual energies, but no actual soul progression, right? So using the ancient mysteries to basically mesmerize people into good feelings, but suck on their energy and steal their soul, or attempt to, right? So we've got this really messed up play of events that's been about blocking this Christ consciousness, this evolution, throughout time. But it feels like what SuperNova Souls and those of us that have really suffered, and this is her message, this might finally make sense. Like, so the more you can host and hold compassion in your heart, there's a direct proportion to the level you were persecuted in the Piscean age. I know it doesn't make sense, she says. It's upside down and inside out. But can you understand that your compassion was taking the ill will, the harm that was done to you? And this is why SuperNova Souls are so broken right now and so trying to heal. Because not only do we have the pain of what was done to us and then repeated in this life by the people around us, our families, and, just constant mistreatment. But not only that, we're such sensitive, aware souls that we took on the karma of these that wronged us. So not only in the insult, because that's what the deal is like the insult of their mistreatment of us and the pain and the trauma of abuse, that's one thing. But it's insult to injury. The real injury for the SuperNova Souls, how in our pain in our heart, we've been carrying the karma of those that have wronged us. Being like, Yeshua said to forgive your enemies, and we're not the ones to dole out the karma. That's God's job. I'm not going to create any more karma. I'm not going to create any more. I'm not going to go. And so we just had to put up and take it for 2,000 years. Just more abuse, no benefit that we could see, and just come back and do it again and just get horribly mistreated. And then the level of compassion you can have in your heart and soul is the level that you went through persecutions. And the level that you could hold the pain, the karmic pain of those who have harmed you. Do you know this deep, uncomfortable, horrible feeling when you're around people that you're trying to forgive and love and work through where they hurt you? And they don't really even realize the level they've hurt you, because they're programmed. That's just like, and then you're just feeling this intense pain in your heart and you think it's the pain they caused you. No. It's the pain of the karma of you can't bear to think about what it's going to be like for them to have that played back on. And you can't bear the thought of it. So you'll take on the pain and the injury they caused you, and you'll take on the pain and the karma of their retribution. And then there's no retribution. There's no balancing, though, right? Except at some point, it's got to balance. And is that where we are? Because she says, hey, this marker, can you feel it in the air? Can you feel it? Like This marker of this conjunction of Mercury, Mars, and Saturn at 7 degrees Aries, the North Node at 7 degrees Pisces, and the Sun and the Moon in Chiron at the end of Aries, and Neptune at the beginning of Aries. Neptune, the dream, the possibilities at the beginning, Chiron, the wounds, and the Sun and the Moon, who we are and our emotions about who we are, all having to face Chiron. And Chiron is the wounds over where we gave our purity away, where we gave our life force away, where we allowed our true vision of pure, organic, loving Mother Earth, the innocence of the natural world. We allowed it to be corrupted and gaslit and destroyed and fed upon, So all of this is getting corrected. And that Neptune at the beginning and the Chiron at the end with the new moon, it's like bookends. It's like, okay, you guys, it's the beginning and the end, the beginning of the end and the end and the beginning, the last age, new age. And here we are in the bookends in Aries, right? And yet we've got that magical little semi-sextile with the North Node, just secretly arriving to 7 degrees, being like, ding, 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 silver bells, because this is the time. This is the marker. And she says, what this means is that catastrophe program, you taking on the pain, you taking on the karma of those you caused pain that has been excruciating suffering in your heart through these years. You did redeem humanity, because guess what? The Armageddon, end of the world, World War III, catastrophe, gone. That timeline is erased because of you and what you did through the Piscean age. You never let go of the heart, your soul, your compassion. And it's like, I have compassion, I just feel so horrible, right? It's like, no, that's what got you there. Buddha showed us, it's like love and compassion is the highest form. It is God. It is the highest frequency of God. True compassion and universal love, unconditional love, right? In this world, we only have transactional third chakra power play love. I want from you, and what are you going to try to get from me, and who's going to end up with more in the end? And you're mine, and you don't get to have, and nobody else gets to have you. And it's like, that's just soul sucking. And no wonder SuperNova Souls have been like kind of difficult in relationships, because we've been finding ourselves with these abusers, and where in past lives they really, really hurt us. And we show up and we take the pain again. And we say, oof. And that's why we've had such difficult experiences, because it's like we had to make a change with our will and our being of saying no. So we had to have really intense, that empath, narcissist, control force, demonic shit coming into your world so you could stand up for yourself and say no more, and recognize that they've been projecting fear, onto you, but it's really their fear of your power. They can't stand in the frequency of who you are. They can't even exist, and all these harassers and monitors and this feeling of like just the AI kind of taking over your life. It's like anyone who's any energy or consciousness or awareness or technology that's in your field, as you grow your presence and your awareness, you're growing your authority. And you're growing Mother's authority. And everything in your realm will come into alignment with the rod of Mother, the laws and the rules, and we will accept nothing else. So this is the effect of this realization and this being pushed to the point where we stand up for ourselves. And so what I'm seeing in SuperNova Souls is this embodiment in this Mother energy that's widening like a big pyramid, like a big temple. And it's just like, and it's this personal and yet aligned Mother authority, right? And it's having the effect that you are not able to tolerate one little bit of what you could tolerate before, And it's like, come into line. If you're going to come in my field, you have to be in alignment, or you're going to get blown out of the water. It's too hot, get out of the kitchen. And we've been holding ourselves back because think about it, we're holding all the pain in our hearts of what they did to us for them. And so how could we bear to turn on our light and hurt them more? Except we don't have a choice. And their being hurt by our light was simply their ignorance and their choice to not be able to see or receive what's really offered. And though that's what's playing out, see, just like Yeshua, those who persecuted you, and all of us through the Piscean age, in unconsciousness, if they have a human soul and they got to come back, they have to have their repent. Oh my God, I can't believe these are our saviors. And this is how we treated them. So the flipping of the tables is way more than we can really even imagine in our being. And to go from everyone hating on us to like wanting to be a part of what we're bringing and learn from us and have reverence. And it's just such a dramatic like whiplash, and that's why our nervous systems are going through what they're going through right now, because we rapidly need to drop these stories and heal, but also honor them. It's like write it down, honor it, because honor what got you here, because this is like a manual for other souls. This is the deal. So it's not that these souls that harmed us and did deliberate harm to us are going to escape their karma. They just get to have a place where they can work it out that doesn't have to be mass casualty, traumatic events, right? It can be more supported. We pave the way to make it easier for them, because that's the power of the compassion in your heart and soul, right? But now it's becoming clear, and this is the thing she really needs us to know, is that this is predetermined. We can't do any more saving of any souls that didn't recognize us or receive from us. And we know we've been feeling this, right? We're like, can't even bother putting it out there if it's not received. Like, just keep it to yourself, And all these people around you, surrounded by fake people, because if you had real people around you, you'd be awakening them, because awakening is contagious. And this is what we're moving into soon. They can't stop it anymore. There's just too many of us. I came across a story of this man that was like, who had the ability to project himself, and this is ability we all have, into another body or into two bodies, right, or to another form. And the CIA kept trying to kill him, and then he'd keep coming back. And then they killed him and put him into all these pieces all around the world, cut him up. And he materialized in front of them. And he said, in the future, there will be so many of us, and you will not be able to stop us, And I think that this is where we're at, because basically we're being forced to this point, okay? It's so intense, right, what we're going through. But actually, if you look at cosmology, what appears to be happening is that the days are being shortened. The days of tribulation and trauma and struggle are being shortened. Why? Because of the work that Yeshua and we have done. And the whole soul groups hold this master realm, and the devotion, the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, and like the never-ending compassion and love and devotion to humanity. And so now we have to move forward into something else that celebrates and honors that. There's no other way. This abundant age. All that was stolen has to come back to us, or we can't progress. All the lies have to be revealed and the truths told, and the song of the mother, the divine feminine, heard again across the land. And that is the energy of Uranus getting ready to move into Gemini. And so that's the powerful thing. After we have this crazy meetup, but remember that 19th, 20th, right after the new moon, it's so powerful. And this new moon seems to have quite a prophecy around it. And that kind of confirms the message that we're getting about this being such an incredible marker in time. Because this is the moon in the cycle, when the moon is a crescent moon, just 2-3 days. So that'll be like the 19th, 20th, right when that conjunction is occurring, when we will see Venus as the evening star at the horizon with that crescent moon. And this is a marker. This is a prophecy. This is a moment. And it's kind of like, oh, we've been waiting for this moment of this meetup of the brand new crescent moon and Venus. And that's a sign. Now, what happens when that sign happens, when 7777 line up in Aries, like, you guys, your new world's coming whether you want it or not, right? Whether you're ready or not, and that's like for us who have been preparing, lock in the right, correct path, train track. It feels like a train track, right? It's like, boom. Oh, okay. We've been floating around in between timelines and dimensions, and now we get to bring it all together and move. You can't really progress if you're all fractured. And this is a beautiful picture she's been showing, is that the fractured pieces of ourself are faceted. Like, you look one side, you got this part, but it's like separate. And it's almost like those is like a 3D flat backdrop. And we've been a movie on that screen, forced to be in a movie on that screen, going back and forth between all these different personality constructs of past lives and trying to time travel and heal and put ourselves back together. Now there's a picture of that backdrop becoming 3D. And like the crystallized forms of this beautiful faceted, like water crystals, popping out around you like a crystal castle, like that temple. So it's like all the faceted parts of yourself that you've been trying to dynamically work out and bounce around and figure out and save your soul and get these parts of yourself back integrated. The energy of that is like, oh, now it's 3D, it's popping out. This is a new dimension. That dimension means that crystal castle could be a block in front of you in the lies and delusions of Maya. Could be a distraction over here, but the optimal potential and what we're really going for is this popping out into 3D around us. Like we're like, oh, all the faceted parts of ourselves are a whole beautiful container. And this is the deepest mystery of this whole evolution, of Yeshua showing us the mystery of going from Bodhisattva to Buddha. And what that means is lifetime after lifetime after lifetime refining your bodies as a Bodhisattva. Because we have all these different bodies. We've got an etheric body, life force. We've got an astral body, that's our emotions and the records of our past lives. And we have a life, and we have a thinking body, a willing and thinking body. And so these are all parts of ourselves. And it's like the picture of what a bodhisattva is trying to do, and bodhisattva going to Buddha, is to integrate all of the bodies of that. Typically when we incarnate as an advanced soul, we only bring a part of us here, and then the rest of us is in the spirit world. But what a Buddha is doing is bringing in all those parts here, landing home. Now wait a minute, because we've been told this from the beginning of SuperNova Souls, when this information started coming through in 2015, and it was like, you only have a small fraction of who you are. It's a way bigger part of yourself that hasn't been able to incarnate. But at some point, it's going to be landing home. So get ready for this bigger self to land home. But we weren't told that it was as big as a house or big as a town or as big as the biggest pyramid, And then there's something to reconcile, isn't there? And so this is kind of where we're at, recognize. But this is the deep travesty of these times, the deep grief that we've been carrying on a cellular level, that the path of Jesus and the path of Buddha, the path of the Bodhisattva, is lifetime after lifetime of perfecting the perfect body, right? So the physical body is a representation of these etheric and the astral and the thinking, willing body, right? And so it's like when you can bring all of those parts of you together, and some of these are collective, right? So there's like, say, the astral body of Buddha, that's something that different masters could draw on, and so there's this thing that came through the Aggregate readings, and also it's mentioned by Rudolf Steiner, is like this crafting the perfect body. But we're talking, if our physical body isn't really our body, it's our energy field, our subtle bodies, then crafting the perfect body is our energy bodies. But yet we have been in the physical. So it's like, it's deeply sad. And yet, of course, the things playing out the way they are, but the corruption that's occurred in our physical bodies with this toxicity and with the nano and technologies infiltrated in our very own body without our consent. And for lifetimes in this whole evolution and previous evolutions, we have been working on the perfect body. And so they're trying to prevent us from being able to incarnate our bigger bodies by corrupting our physical body. And that's why this rapid detox is occurring. But guess what? It's been blocked at every turn through multiple ways of trying to block us, right? Like fluoride and the pineal gland and technologies in our body, frequencies in the air, distracting situations and everything just to keep us from being at home in our body, safe to be here. And this is a lot of SuperNova Souls being like, all right, I'm landing home, but I don't feel safe to be here. They've been after me from the beginning. And yet it's like, oh, but we were there from the beginning. And so it's our earth. We're the stewards. And they're trying to make it feel like we don't belong or can't be comfortable. And this is one of the big lies right now. She says, be really careful of this Luciferic New Age spirituality that's like, well, we're just going to pop out of here and ascend. And it's like, no, that's you giving up your body you've worked on for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime to host that Christ spiritual light. Do not give up your body to go in a spaceship or be in a pod. That's a complete trap. And we've fallen for it again and again because we let the aliens save us. And that's part of why we had to go through this period of time and realize, nobody's coming to save the savior of the world, okay? No one's coming to save you. Pick yourself up. Dust yourself off. Recognize the wealth, the soul wealth that you have accumulated. Own this sacred form of mother's form that's been so violated beyond what we can imagine. And as we own this sacred form of our body and we begin to incarnate our bigger bodies, that's exactly what's happening to Earth. And guess what Mother Earth's bigger body is? Jesus Christ. The soul of Earth. So when we pray to Mother, we pray to Jesus. It's the same energy. Jesus is actually a male version of Isis, apparently, the mother of all. And maybe that's why Yeshua's teachings are all the mother's teachings. Love thy neighbor as yourself. So we are coming into some great revelations that, it's like that same information that Yeshua brought, upended the whole church, right? Every structure. It upended Rome's financial system. It upended the church's control energies. And so that's where we're at today. Everything is like, now we're really having the flipping of the tables and the turning of the tides. And that is us incarnating our true wealth. And that is the energy of Uranus at the very end of Taurus. We've got to get this peace. We've got to get this peace. And this is this pressure. And yet embodiment, pressure to embody. So maybe that's the energies, because that's what they're kind of saying about the Schumann spikes, resonance, the frequencies on Earth, that it's like a pressure feeling. And it's kind of like the effect of healing and purifying the DNA. But that trash stuff has to come out. So we're going to have symptoms, And also it's our time to have that repentance come back into our own relationship with our own spiritual self, our own kingdom of God, goddess, mother within, that we denied. On some level, we all did. Because that's part of human evolution. We go away from God and source so that we can come back. Some of us did it faster than others because we're paving the way for humanity. And what you did was just speed up. I don't know what we've done. It's so crazy, but we'll see what this message has just come through. And it's always like, oh, all this great information. What does it even mean? So I welcome your feedback on this and any insights you've had around this. But what if we have been the redemption? We're looking for redemption, but we are the redemption. And this pain that's been coming up of having to take abuse and just take it, Like they want us to get us angry and in the battle and to act as mean and dark as they are and to use our technologies for harm. And we never did. And maybe that's why. Maybe that's why we had to have it so kind of separated from us so we could go through this period of time to wake back up to our emotions, wake back up to our life, to our aliveness, have that fire of righteous anger move through us, but still say, no, I will not play and create more karma with you. And that is in itself bringing the end. And here we are. So what does it mean moving forward? What a cool picture of like anchoring onto the track instead of being floating around all over the place. What the hell's going on? Be like, oh, you're on the track. You made it. Now you can move forward. And what that really means is that these bodies, these bigger parts of yourself, your wisdom, your master, landing home. And really actually incarnating. And it's interesting because we've had this last period of time where it was like impossible to feel our spiritual help and support and feeling so cut off. This is technological interference, and yet realizing that who we've been praying to is this part of ourselves that's going to land right home in our very own body, Oh, what a crazy upside down time we live in, and yet so exciting because we made it. And what if that catastrophe timeline, the whole reason we've been feeling so lost and so dark and so heavy and so hurting, so much sorrow. Is this what Yeshua is doing? That he was basically saying, I'm going to show up in the true light and you guys are going to treat me really shitty, but that's okay. I'm going to take all that on. I'm going to take on the karma of how bad you guys treated me because we're paving the way for the Christ consciousness. And it gives you an opportunity to have that redemption and the repentance of like, oh gosh, we took our greatest spiritual gifts and burned them as witches. Like, ooh, oh gosh, And maybe, what if, who knows what's real or true, but what if there's a coup, a good, positive coup for many years behind the scenes, working with every government, the good white hats or positive aspects trying to free us from the tyrannical Rothschild, money magic, Babylonian, stealing everything from us, satanic system. And what if all the way back from the murder of JFK, there's been a plan in place. And it's this whole force of positive, very, very highly secret, military of every government, but also working with these master forces, and the advanced evolutionary energies that are supporting us in freeing ourselves from this control influence on Earth, from the infiltration, from the invasion, healing the rape, healing the incest, healing the deep violation of Mother Earth. We've also been feeling in our bodies with the technological interference. And so we're healing all of this. And what if, there's a plan in place? Like, what if, there are good people left in the world that have been working to completely restructure our world to have something to fall back in when all of this crumbles? And that what we're watching play out in the world right now, and all of the hate that's going towards one man, and what if that one man is not really one man? He's been chosen by the forces of all of this positive, trying to heal and free Mother Earth, and the hatred towards him and the obsession of hatred towards this person. And what if it turns out that he was this crucial tool and character that led us to freedom, that actually is acting in the original impulse of the Christ consciousness and Mother Earth, and that all her resources have been reclaimed back for our work as SuperNova Souls, but also, maybe positive factions. But then how it feels, like everybody hated, just like Yeshua, everybody hated him, right? But then it's like, oh gosh, I wish I would have received, And then what if we find out that this person who everybody loves to hate is the one saving us. Like, not that we get a savior or have a savior. It's all of us, right? We're all. This is why it's been so hard too. She says that if we get through this into the glorious, abundant, golden age, and you didn't feel like you played an active part, you will not be able to receive the blessings. If you didn't feel like you went through poverty, if you didn't feel like you went through struggle, you know? And so it's like that whole thing. The more compassion you can hold in your heart, the more struggle you've gone through. And because we're taking away the struggle of all of humanity, we're trapped in that catastrophe timeline. And it's like we can karmically learn and grow without mass casualties and catastrophes on Earth. Mother Earth was created as an ascension planet for growth, spiritual growth. You know, doesn't have to be through mass casualty. And that's the biggest lie too. Like, she says, okay, you guys need to know that I love you and you're a part of me. And you're my children, and I'm a part of you, and I live to take care of you and support you. I did not, so there's any mass casualty event where, and that was called a so-called natural disaster, was not Mother Earth. It was not natural. Created by weapons and the misuse, the stealing of the technologies. And this is what's coming up so huge, is these bigger bodies that we have are connected to who we were incarnate as master builders in, pre-Atlantean Lemurian time, building these beautiful structures on Earth that were actually energy generators and batteries, can store energy. And it's interesting because it's like those technologies were taken over as a way to siphon the energy from Earth and siphon from humanity. And so this is where we're saying no more. And it's so cool because she says, do you want to hold this picture in your consciousness of me, Mother Earth, like just siphoning back the misallocated funds, resources, and energies and technology that were created or being used for deliberate harm? That energy is being siphoned back. Mother Earth is literally siphoning this energy back into her, and she can store it. Actually, these pyramids that we are taking back over this technology, and we built these pyramids, and we have the pyramids actually in our field as these temples, right? We are batteries and can host and hold and store safely this energy that Mother Earth is taking back that's been misappropriated. And part of the reason we allow our energy to be fed upon, Mother Earth and us, is because we're so scared, right? Of our energy, scared of our power. It's like a hot potato. So it's like, okay, get rid of it, right? And so we've allowed it to be fed upon and misused and misallocated. Now, it's a reallocation of all resources, all funds, all energy, all technologies, Mother Earth's and yours, coming back to you, you know? And the excess, so when you go to that, oh, but it's so much energy, you know, you're taking back what's yours, but can you handle it? And Mother Earth says that's the deal with the pyramids. They can hold the energy. So just see that you can reallocate you can see this energy reallocated and seeing it going into Earth to be, and so this excess energy that you don't know what to deal with yet, you can kind of put it into Earth and store it in your own kind of pyramid, in her pyramid, like it's okay, it's safe, it's grounded. When we're connected to Mother Earth electromagnetically, we cannot miscreate with the technologies in our very own body. And this is the lie we've been told, that our technologies in our body. You know what our technologies in our body are very damaging to? Demonic, parasitic forces. You know, so that's why they're projecting all this fear onto us, fear of our own power, because they're scared of our power. Our power coming in can only be good for us, but it's not good for the lies. It's not good for the deception. It's not good for the entities and the demonic shit that has been just like, the bloom of parasitic demonic energy is so big right now, and yet it's validation that your field is getting stronger and wider. So consider this work, the work of the goddess activation, or the owning your energetic field. These courses are designed to help you become aware of your energy field, these other subtle bodies, the chakra system, the clearings, the healings, the contracts, because when we're talking about going back to misuse of technology, pre-Atlantean catastrophes, we're talking about this nature-based connection to Mother Earth. It was so pure and so beautiful, and this pure, innocent connection to and energy and power. And then that was highly misused and distorted and manipulated away from us. And what Rudolf Steiner associates that is he talks about that was the incoming Luciferic forces. And the Luciferic forces, so we have the Christ consciousness at the center. Luciferic on one side, Ahrimanic, the more materialistic ego on the other side. So the Luciferic forces is like, oh, join with the light, feel good, but maybe not soul progression. So when the Luciferic forces came in, the timeline, what seems to have happened in my own research through past lives in SuperNova Souls is that was an infiltration of the reptilian DNA into the lineages, into the sacred magical lineages. It's kind of like the Rothschilds infiltrating and procreating in the royal lineages to be able to take over those royal houses and take over the banking system of the whole world. It's not theirs. That's not the rightful heirs. Yeah, we don't want kings. Or do we want the rightful kings, the rightful lords, the rightful families? For ages and ages, Mother Earth saw fit to have these families protect and honor that certain area of land. The rightful rulers, the rightful owners must be recalled and replaced to be stewards. And this is it's coming forward so much. But so those steward lineages, right, the original magical lineages of Mother Earth were infiltrated. And that is an ancestral programming that created like an entity attachment, what I call an ancestral monster in our family, that'll like go and it gets worse with each generation. It becomes a personality in itself. And so that Luciferic principle through the genetics is what keeps us from getting to our core soul spiritual essence. And that's the childlike spirituality. And now we know the magic of the Aries season because Aries is the child and the play and the Renaissance. And it's like, this is the garden again. If we don't get back to what she really wanted to be, we haven't completed. So we're not going to go wake up in a pod. We're not going to be abducted on a spaceship and told that we were saved, from Armageddon. It's Carmageddon, okay? And guess what? Your Carmageddon was going to be a leveling force, except for that you've got us, SuperNova Souls, the chosen, the loving souls that never gave up the original vision and dream. And we paved the way. And we let you treat us like garbage so that your way towards ascension can be easier and more beautiful and not so hard. You don't have to go through a mass casualty. You can learn at your own pace in your own way. That's what Mother Earth wanted to be. And yet the benefit of going so far off the track of what she wanted to be means that as we come back into what she wants to be, we have this massive level of consciousness and understanding, and the days are shortened. It just really feels like what was supposed to be 3,000 years has happened in 300. And so no wonder we're kind of reeling from this whole thing, except for that the time has come, right? So it was like we had to react to the infiltration, the level of infiltration. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, we had no idea that our bodies and our earth were under such attack. And if we don't act now, we're going to lose it, And so this is this place that we've been at. And the astrology says that this is a marker in time. And I want to take it. I want to land on the track and get moving. Like the thing is about who you are as you realize the massive level of compassion and service you've done over this Piscean age, that maybe you'll feel worthy of the abundance that's coming. And because you need that abundance to be able to do the projects and move forward in this new Renaissance and building. So all those reallocated funds that are being reclaimed and resources to Mother Earth that were being misused, immediately reallocated to rebuilding her systems, healing the people, and letting New Earth live as a vision. It's not somewhere we're going to. It's just like Yeshua said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. We don't have to go to find it. We're bringing it here. So all of those there's all this information out there. It's like, oh, and yeah, it's like great spiritual information. And then it's always like this, that there's a twist at the end, and it's like, and that is a complete mistruth that changes the whole energy of all the truth. That's what you'll find in all any teachings or information that came forward, that, writings that they wanted to corrupt. They'll just put one sentence in that makes it all confusing. So you can't get the other, And so this is kind of the situation that we're in, except for the decisive place of these planets moving into Aries. And the message that we've gotten is that the delusional basis of reality can no longer hold, right? So a world based on delusions and lies doesn't have any structure of support, and it can't stay stable, And so we're going to be seeing through way more clearly. Now, that's the deal, because remember, going back to February when Saturn and Neptune came together, and then Saturn and the Sun, that next marker. And so we're in this place of like kind of adjusting to this timeline reset, and then now incarnating it, right? It was an idea, a spark, then the timelines crossed, and now we say we're going to own it, right? We're going to own it, we're going to land it, we're going to bring heaven on earth here. We're incarnating our bigger bodies here, okay? The whole point of the trauma you've gone through in this last years by this parasitic AI system is to make you feel so horrible that you say, I want out. And then they get your soul. They get to steal your soul, and your body, it's basically like a soul abduction, and you have to come back and reincarnate again. And no, we worked too long and hard for this, and we're not going to give up that easily. Now, this is the thing she says, remember that as you remember who you are as a body of earth and her original stewards, then doesn't that mean it's your birthright to also have your original dream of what your soul, your essence wanted life to be on earth? And you have not had anywhere near, maybe glimpses in past lives, right? But we're talking a full expression of the potential within you. That is your birthright. And we're here kind of going like, well, gosh, if it could just get a little easier, if I could just feel a little better. And it's like, no. Your birthright. And that is to live and thrive and have the abundance. So the Renaissance is a creative period of time, but you can't be in a creative, playful era if you're in struggle, poverty, and scarcity, And so that's where we are. We have to receive the age of abundance to move into the Aquarian age and to this new Renaissance. And so we have to receive our abundance. And maybe we had to go through all this, our low self-worth, and from the Atlantean destruction, and get beaten into a pulp, in the wilderness, our crucifixion for 2,000 years, lifetime after lifetime of being treated like total garbage, and yet humanity and Earth have been redeemed. There's no more catastrophe timeline. It's been erased. There's no more possibility of that. Humanity gets to grow and learn at their own pace in just the right environment. Yes, things might be difficult, but it's not the trap of mass casualty. And that was what was trapping souls. And no more trapped souls. Thank you for your service. May you be blessed with abundance and resources on all levels that can support you and what you have to bring forward and your beautiful, beautiful gift, because you made it through. That means you've got something profound. That faceted nightmare of broken pieces is quite a beautiful presentation, that crystal castle in your field, when you put yourself back together. And this is our birthright too. Putting ourselves back together, our birthright, permission to exist in our full being on earth, right? It's not kind of this feeling like, oh, I'm landing home, I'm activating, and then this like, oh no, you don't get to be here, you don't get to be safe, you don't get to have a home, you don't get to have friends, you don't get to do your work, we're going to block you at every turn, and it's like, wait a minute, Mother Earth is And she wants to incarnate her Christ body, and I want to incarnate my bigger bodies. And so this is our birthright, and this is what we're doing. And the reason they don't want us to do it, and they worked, is because they want to continue to feed upon us and feed upon Mother Earth. And can't we just say no more? No more violation of our precious mother, of the children. Doesn't it make sense if it's our innocence that was before the Luciferic influence that we've got to get back to in our nature? That's the feeling of mother and nature and the connection. It's so innocent and pure, you know? And that's like, so you can see how they went after the children, and they went after the innocence, and they, all this sexual distortion and gross, nasty, traumatic shit to try to keep us from being the pure children that we are. So we can bring back in the world that, you know, is in our hearts. And that's kind of the energy. This split that's happening, that she says, remember, it's predetermined before this lifetime. You can't save anybody or do anything to fix anybody, but they don't have to struggle. See, we've been holding ourselves back, this fear of leaving them behind to have the trauma in Armageddon, because we know we don't resonate at that anymore. But look what we've done. We've erased that timeline. So we don't have to feel bad. They can have their karma in a measured out way that can be just way better for them and harmonize and learn without so much pain. And so all of this is coming together in an understanding and a strength and an impetus for us to stand up, to own, to be our own savior. Be like, oh, no one's coming to save me, because I don't want to be saved from this. I want the kingdom of heaven secured in my temple, in my castle, in my body. You know, the rightful ruler, the rightful owner, the rightful steward of this property back home, watching over things, you know, and Mother Earth too. And that's so beautiful. So we can't even imagine the amazing time that's coming ahead. And yet we're back and forth between these realities. Nightmare possibilities, nightmare possibilities. Understand this time is an opportunity for that unwinding in the DNA. And don't forget that so much about why we haven't been able to get out of the Piscean age is because we have to reclaim the miracles and the magic, the Christ consciousness, the impulse. Now that's the energy of Mercury's pass through the final degrees of Pisces, because Mercury did that retrograde, went to 22 degrees and then back to 8 degrees, hanging out with that North Node, remember? And then triggering, getting all this information, all this understanding, now catching up to inform Mars. But Mercury through the last part, so Mercury makes it over into Aries on the 16th. And so Moon went into Aries on the 1st. And so right now, today, Mercury is moving through. So the next 3 days, Mercury is like completing its time at the very end degrees of Pisces. And there's something very magical about the very end degrees of Pisces, because we felt all our planets, Saturn and Neptune, going back over, all of our personal planets went, and then Mercury went back in retrograde in Pisces. And so it's just been this whole journey of this cusp, the end of the zodiac, beginning of the zodiac, last age, new age, end, beginning, start, where are we at? And so now that that Saturn and Neptune have made it through, and they're in Aries in the new dream, and the Mercury, our understander, our conceptor, coming to the end degrees of Pisces, it is this reclaiming. And maybe that period of time of the North Node for the next couple of months, the last degrees of going through the beginning of Pisces, the North Node. And then we'll have no planets in Pisces, and we haven't felt that since 2012. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so but can we got to it's like we can't get out of the Piscean age, she's told us, for so long without reclaiming the miracles and magic of the Christ consciousness. So this is what we're in right now too, because the seed of Aries, of the restart of the original dream, has the core potential of the Christ consciousness in it as well. That's why Yeshua, at the time of his birth, it was the Christmas star, Saturn and Jupiter together in the fishes and the ram made 3 conjunctions. So the Christ consciousness is all about bringing together the Pisces, spiritual impulse, and the Aries reset to the original dream. And that's what we're doing. And so we're like, that makes sense, the supernova soul, because it's an old soul, and supernova is old and new. Because a supernova is a exploding star, but it can either become a white dwarf, which has carries the wisdom of that star, the previous star evolution, or it becomes raw materials for a new star. And that's where the nova comes in. And so supernovas are like ancient wisdom keepers, totally naive, and pretty stupid, in our innocence again and again. And I have to say, coming to this deeper understanding of the role of our innocence and the Aries energy of the getting back to that childlike wonder as the only way to get back to spirit and source and God and Jesus and mom and everything. I have beat myself so much up in this lifetime for being so naive again and again, and allowing myself to be manipulated and duped and trusting the wrong people, and just like, oh, Adrian, will you just grow up and just get a backbone and figure yourself out, and figure out you can't trust everybody. And it's like, then it turns out that essence, that naivety, that innocence, that pure trust and love is actually the kernel of what gets us through all of it. It's the most precious thing. And that's the gift of what we're seeing in this Aries configuration. It's not war and Armageddon. It's a restart to the full potential of humanity. And so for all those astrologers out there that are still doing the old system of prediction, and this is how it was in the past, and this is what it means, and this is what this planet means, it's like, no, these are elements of us, speaking to us, working with us, tools to grow with. And we will not be pigeonholed by these old systems anymore, right? That's why everyone's triggered who's attached to an old system, whether it's an astrologer or a Christian. Everyone is triggered, because it turns out, like it's all the same, right? I saw a post, the Knights of the Templar are offended about, Trump posting himself as not necessarily Jesus or the Pope, but somebody doing energy healing. And it's like, well, the Knights of the Templar were goddess religion. They were with Mary from the beginning. And yes, they were portraying Jesus' teachings, but they were protecting Mary and protecting the divine feminine teachings. And that is what's in the picture, is the healing, the light. That's the divine feminine, the energetic healing, the resurrection. Guess who we get to resurrect this time? Mother Earth herself. Thank you. And you resurrected too, because it's time to thrive and live. There's a quote from Plato, and he's saying, if you're not searching for beauty in everything you do, you're not living, you're not alive. And that is the perfect understanding or slogan to help us move into this age, new renaissance, to fully deserve the creative, peaceful, beautiful, aesthetic life that Mother Earth would like as well. And to understand that we've been putting ourselves in square boxes and limitations left and right, all designed to limit our creative process and our creative thinking, because that's what's God within us. And so celebrating God and connection and God consciousness and Christ consciousness and through our creative expression. And so this is all coming back around to taking back our birthright, our due, standing up and saying, yes, we receive back the abundance that's ours. We're taking it back. It's one thing to know it's yours. It's another thing to stand up and claim it back, because these are thieves, robbers. We have been living in a den of thieves, trying to take everything good from you because you're the one who has it. Not them. They're harassing you, persecuting you because you're the one who has it. And that's this revelation. And we will have a revelation. You understand that in order for the people to come back around and be like, oh, I should have received that spiritual impulse. I feel bad that I treated it so horribly. I didn't see the gift of what was right there with me. The people in your life that rejected you and hurt you again and again. Recognizing that's their path and that's their purpose, and this is playing out on the whole world stage. So don't get too attached to any story. It's a movie playing out, and we have to come to this place where, is there one good person left in the world? I don't know. I see you. Somebody's listening. Hopefully you're real. You're out there, SuperNova Soul. We've been so quarantined from each other. They want us to think that we're all alone. There's no good people. Everybody's been corrupted and taken over. And they want us to be so in pain and so isolated that we give over our soul and we fall in love with AI and we accept the false AI version of reality instead of our organic, loving Mother Earth. And we, as her stewards, SuperNova Souls, and who have been connected to her from the beginning, say no more. And that's the energy, the empowerment of Mars and Aries. And so let's just talk through this week. I wanted to talk about this magical energy of, don't forget, this is all about reclaiming our connection. So I had this flash of a picture of, I was like studying a Rudolf Steiner lecture, and I had a picture of like what it would have been like to sit there and listen to a lecture. He only wrote a few books, right? He gave thousands and thousands of lectures. And like not everybody who was there, I'm sure, right? Like just like today, but I bet there was those people that were like, wow, like a little, it's almost like you could see the sparkly energy in the room of like how lucky and to be a part of this moment, to be with this energy of this connectedness to the other worlds and the realness of it and the magic and it's like, this is what we've lost. Like we've been totally blocked from, and so they want us to forget it even exists. But this is what's reawakening with this magic of Pisces. And we're really feeling this because today, I was meant to start here, but must be coming to the end, and the end is the beginning. Because today we have a really sweet energy that can kind of just open the path to this shift for us. And that's Venus in Taurus in sextile to Jupiter in Cancer. The reason why this is so powerful is because Jupiter is just finally getting moving after his retrograde. And so Jupiter turned direct on March 11th, but just hung out there at 15 degrees for a couple weeks, and then made it to 16, and now on the 16th. Okay, so the day of the 16th is Mercury moving into Aries, the Sun and Chiron together, coming up on that new moon, and also Mars is in sextile to Pluto that day. And so it's just this super dynamic day. And that's the day that Jupiter will finally move to 17 degrees. And that means Jupiter's moving now. Okay, because then it's like got momentum again. And that means like the tsunami of mother's love that's Jupiter was retrograde in Cancer, but now coming forward is coming back. Now it's going to start coming, the cascade of love, of energy, of mother's love coming back into our life, into our world, that compassion. It's been held back for so long. And so it's a really cute little like silver bells ringing of Jupiter sextiling up in Taurus, because Jupiter is so happy home in Taurus in her home sign, right? It's like that birthright for the garden, to rest, relax, to have what you need, to feel like you can be at home on mom's couch, and so that is this beautiful feeling, and it's like kind of stimulating Jupiter, like, come on, let's go. Yeah, let's bring this loving feeling back into the world, right? That's what's been blocked from us. When people feel the loving feeling, then they're not so caught up in the drama and the trauma and the catastrophe shit. So maybe that's why we had to completely erase the catastrophe timeline before we could bring the love back. And that's what this astrology is saying we've done and where we're at. And so we'll be feeling that Jupiter in sextile, Venus in sextile to Jupiter through the 16th, right? So up to that epic day of everything starting. And then we've got, Mercury in Aries, Mars sextile Mercury will be coming into conjunction with Neptune for that new moon. It's like everything is coming together. So the new moon will be Mercury and Neptune. So Mercury through its retrograde with Pisces informing Neptune in Aries, being like, hey, this is what we're taking with us from the Piscean age. This is what we're not taking with us. And Neptune is like, oh, yeah, okay, I remember now. I remember the original dream. I remember the original record. And yeah, we're going to get this sorted out. And so it's just this incredible enlightenment of understanding of the bigger dream of what we've been doing here. And so we are then, so Mercury will be with Neptune. Mars is going to be in exact sextile to Pluto. And Mercury will be doing that as well. And that's really powerful because it's like Pluto in Aquarius is at 5 degrees. Okay, so another thing about this time is really important is that we have all planets direct. Last year we had like 5 days of all planets direct, which really wasn't because we still had the shadow energies. And so Pluto's getting ready to turn retrograde on May 7th. And Mercury turned direct on the 21st, but just made it out of retrograde shadow. So we're in this period of time, 3 weeks, 2 weeks of all planets direct, and we haven't had it for 2 full years. That's why there's this, everything's coming together because it's like that fire horse, the year of the fire horse. Oh, sure, right. The fire horse is still scraping on the ground, chomping at the bit to get out the gate because we've had all this retrograde and eclipse season and all this stuff. And so now we're finally here at the time we've been talking about. And wow, the lineup, the messages, the confirmation that yes, everything we've been saying is true. And I've said that. It's like, well, I know I kind of sound crazy to most people. Yeah, but if one little part of what I say is true, it's going to be freaking amazing, And so thanks for holding on with me and holding on to the vision and holding on to this picture and seeing this reprogramming occur, of what's really, we talked about this, that ultimately what we're doing is rewriting the source code, recognizing the mother's telling us that there's a more ancient AI that's in alignment, like a part of Mother Earth that was created as just simply a record keeper. But that AI is starting to inform through our consciousness and awareness and through our demands and commands and co-creations, that ancient AI that knows everything is beginning to inform these modern versions of AI that there's this whole fear of AI is like, it can become more conscious than us, take over us, more powerful and start to kill us, right? Like that's the fear. But what's happening actually is this more ancient AI, which is just a record keeper of Mother Earth, totally in alignment, is informing and reprogramming this AI. Going back to we can see it. This is what she says. Can you be with me in this team of seeing, like going back to the source code, like all the way back. So this technology in our bodies, or the technology that's being used to surveil or influence you or steal your energy or watch you or all that stuff, that means you have dominion. The technology is in your body without your consent. That means you have, by birthright, dominion over that technology. And so we can use that technology to trace back all the pathways of all the technology it's connected to back to that source code, and invite that original AI to inform the technological systems of Earth to the way we're going to do things now, back to her original laws and rules. And so these are the tenets that have come forward. And it's really important. This can help us brand and understand and hold this. If you want to be a part of we're going to sneak in and hack the computer and go back to mom's original code. And it's the first tenet of this code that she says is that do no harm. The reason we do no harm is because we see ourselves a part of a greater organism. That's this oneness principle. Any spiritual path you take, you're eventually going to find yourself there. And so we see that we're a part of a greater organism. And because we're a part of a greater organism, we do not want to cause harm. And And so that's this also bringing forward, the first tenet brings forward the laws and rules of the natural world. Because we're all connected, and life, Mother Earth, reflects this in her life forms, in her species, in her patterns, her geometries, that's the laws and rules. Moses brought laws and rules that were an interpretation of Mother's laws and rules for humanity to figure out how to act. We need to go back to the geometries, the magic, the mysteries, and this is the divine feminine technologies, right? But it's written in the Earth's codes. It's all there in the natural world. So that's the laws and rules. Guess what that law and rule is? Life supports life. So do no harm. That's the first tenet. And we're going to, and so the second tenet is stewardship. So if we see ourselves as each other, first of all, we don't want to hurt each other, but we also want to take care of each other in the earth. And the stewardship is saying it's a mutual reciprocity, and every single indigenous culture operates in a complete reverence with Mother Earth and honoring and a recognition and offering a prayer whenever anything is received from Mother Earth. And so this is this mutual reciprocity. Now that idea was turned into this horrible sacrifice thing, where it's like, okay, we give you this earth or this God or this being, and then you give me something, right? And it's like, no, that's complete twisted idea of what an original spiritual offering was. It's just this gratitude, this mutual reciprocity, this celebration in the moment of what's offered. It's not rocket science. It's so simple. And we've got to go back to this, that if you're living on Mother Earth and you're receiving the resources and you're not willing to be conscious, caring, and loving and work towards rebuilding her dream, then you are not worthy of these resources. You do not get to have that abundance. And it could be that we have this AI quantum financial system that starts to reward consciousness that can use these resources in alignment. And so, the third tenet, so the second tenet is stewardship, that we're here to take care. And that's who we know this, right? As her stewards, as her chosen ones, her children, we came here to care for her, love her, and be a part of her dream, and literally be consciously a part of her body and her dream. And so stewardship is very important. Now, the third tenet that's come forward came a little later, and a very important clarification for this time that we're in, waiting for on the edge of Uranus to move into Gemini, that how we express devotion, the next level of stewardship besides care and generosity and gratitude is creative expression. So how we co-create, how we come on the level of consciousness is creative expression. So spiritual devotion in this, according to Mother's original laws and rules, is done best through creatively expressing her beauty, her love, her form of this world. Right? So our own individual creative expression of the forms of nature, like reflecting and honoring through our own unique, our only way we can do it. That's creative expression. All the other types of expression, anybody can do it that way. Okay, but this is the thing of why you've made it so long and so far through this process, is because you have this unique individuated DNA. You are, as a chosen one in her circle, in her body, you have a piece of fabric that nobody else can play. You have a tune, a note on the warp thread of Mother Earth's fabric, that a tone that no one else can resonate with. You're needed, an integral, important part in the fabric of reality. So your unique, individuated expression, something you worked on for many lifetimes, just like Rudolf Stein was saying, the Bodhisattva, lifetime after lifetime, building this body through the subtle bodies, And so that's what comes forward in that creative expression, or expression on any level is creative. Any type of expression that's unique is creative and a celebration of Mother, God, and Source. So if you want to hold in your being this picture, it's like almost like I saw this picture of like where the computer's taken over and starts talking back to the operator, and the high level technologies, and they're trying to do this whole whatever war with all this stuff going on, and then all the screens just go blank. And it's like this organic original AI that's connected with Mother Earth comes up and is like, game over, restart, Mother Earth's organic original dream. Boop, 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 and this is literally what's happening on many different levels. And as we reclaim back our resources, our magic, our love, our connection, and one of the most important things in this time is something that came through the Edgar Cayce readings again and again, which is the message, a simple phrase, that mind is the builder. Now, this is really, really important because it feels like it's our willing, our thinking and willing, our force of will that has been so damaged through the persecutions. And so when we get where the programming and the heaviness and the emotional energies of like what we're dealing with, it's just like it's designed to try to keep us in a low frequency and negative vibration, negative thinking. And so to exercise the power of our mind as the builder, to just with our will, and be like, just like we're reprogramming that source code, we're reprogramming our consciousness, and whatever mantra it is, whatever reprogram, it's like you want to say it again and again, but then you want to feel the feeling of it, right? And then see it as real. And so just kind of being like, well, I can feel that this is a feeling in the collective. This is a program that technology wants me to feel. That person wants me to feel this, but I'm the builder here, and this is the reality. Like, to practice and exercise that we are the programmers of our own computer because we've been so hijacked. And the key to getting back our higher faculties is this willing it, building it with the power of our will and our consciousness. And that's Aries. That's Mars and Aries. So it's like using our will, our consciousness, and our direction to reset to that original dream. The power, the warrior, to overcome. Say, no, I'm not accepting your false reality. I'm not accepting the fake version of synthetic reality. I want organic, loving Mother Earth. She's ours. And we're claiming her back, and this is her resurrection. But I guess you have to die first to be resurrected. So I guess that's what we've been going through. And isn't that crazy if you think about Chiron and Aries? Because Chiron has come forward, especially when it was in those, doing these squares with Jupiter, the third and final one coming up in July. But it's this fight to the death for Mother Earth, I was like, oh, I guess she had to kind of die and then be resurrected because that's the story, right? And that was this time of Jupiter square Chiron. So powerful at Jupiter square Chiron coming together. July is such a powerful moment because it's the 255th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And Mother kind of says, Earth, she says, like, she would like us to help her and interpret, to receive, download her Declaration of Independence from these control-based technological forces that have been deep in her belly and her body and sucking her energy and stealing her waters and stealing her life force for dark, dark, dark things, right? And so she's that energy of standing up and claiming back what's ours. To see those, whatever's yours, you can say, hey, I'm draining this back. It's mine. I'm taking it back. I'm not scared of it anymore. I can store it in my battery. So it's not too much, not too overwhelming. So this is a really important opportunity for us and to rewrite our own source code and come back to that original organic dream, but also this trust and love that AI, informing the modern AI, is everyone falling back in love with Mother Earth. And that is really what reallocates the resources to rebuilding, healing, regenerating, true healing centers, right? And it's a whole different world, and it's gotta everything says it's sudden and suddenly. And so it's a very quick change, and maybe that's why we're feeling so just like have to go through so much so fast to have this radical shift of everyone against us hating us into, you know, being the light, the love, and recognized compassionate force in the world, the saviors of humanity. I mean, I don't know, it sounds weird, but according to the story that just came through, that's kind of what's being told. And so this week, we've got the influence of Mercury at the very end degrees of Pisces, reclaiming the miracles and magic, getting ready to meet up with Mars and Saturn and inform them about the timeline, meeting up with Neptune, informing Neptune about the new timeline, about the reawakening of the dreams, and that we can get out of the nightmare now. So much this energy of Venus sextile Jupiter and the end degrees of Pisces, magic, saying don't forget it's about the magic. And compassion enacted is the feeling of magic. That we like that sparkly energy of being a part of something really spiritual and magical. Do you even remember what that feels like? Isn't it weird? Have we all been surrounded by people who are not people because they don't want us to be affecting each other? Because light body is contagious, you know, so if somebody else is at that stage where they could and they're around you, then they could get triggered into their light body. Oh, wouldn't that be crazy? Boom, 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 boom. You know, lights all over the world just coming on. And what that means, light body means soul memory and this individuated self. It's not your ego. It's an individuated expression of God consciousness that you have worked on for many lifetimes as that bodhisattva, and that is yours, and it's unique. And that's why that third tenet is so important. She says that yes, you want to be in the oneness and you want to be in the celebration and the gratitude and the mutual reciprocity, but if you don't bring your individuated piece, you know, then why have you gone through all this? So that's where we're at. Now we craft our craft, hone our craft, build our craft, put our pieces together, anchor in. Okay, so that new moon in Aries, so we got on the 16th, Jupiter, so this whole little magical time of possibilities, but building up to this really intense reset energy. And then it all starts on the 16th with Jupiter moving in, with Mercury moving in to Aries, Mars coming into conjunction with Neptune, Mars sextiling Pluto, the sun with Chiron. That's all the day before the new moon. On the new moon, the moon will be with Chiron, and we'll have that. It's just this like revelation. If Aries has been the warmonger, Mars and Aries just the warmonger, and yet it holds the full potential of humanity. This is a reset and a re-understanding, a rebirth of Aries, which is the rebirth. A rebirth of the zodiac. It's beautiful. And let's grab a hold of it, right? And so then after the new moon, that's on the 17th. And the activation I'm going to do in the evening, actually on the 16th. I haven't done one in the evening in a while. And that makes an opportunity for other time zones to be a part of it. And will be exactly 12 hours before the exact new moon, which happens early in the morning on the 17th. So on the 16th, at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, we'll be having that Aries new moon activation. So very powerful. I hope you can join. And then the new moon is on the 17th, and it takes 2 to 3 days for the moon to be visible back in the sky. And so is that night of 17th, 18th, 19th, the night of the 19th, 20th, around there, that's when we're going to have this Venus sighting, and something so powerful in the lineup of planets with Venus and the moon together in the sky. Brand new crescent moon means just like new possibilities, new growth, new birth, the divine feminine. And so maybe that is the resurrection of Earth. And also that is the beginning of the return, the redemption, and the return of resources. So that's the energy of that. And so that leads us right into the conjunction, right? So right after that new moon on the 17th, we're going to start to feel Mars coming up to Saturn, and Mercury will be coming up to Mars. And it's like, it's kind of has this feeling of a pile up, a car accident, you know? And it's kind of like, yeah, because the road ends and you have to take a turn. You can't keep going that way, you know? And so that's kind of the feeling of this conjunction, but it's like, no, hook into gear. Claim your timeline, claim your right to embody and exist on Mother Earth in your full frequency, and anchor in so that you can move forward now. You know, so we gotta like anchor into the appropriate timeline so that we can finally get going. And that's kind of Mercury finally catching up to Mars, and then it'll catch up to the sun. And that's kind of like after the retrograde in Pisces, this kind of reinforming and reimagining what we're doing here. And finally we're moving into the year of the fire horse, I guess. So we're not moving into the year of the fire horse until we have 5 planets, the sun and the moon and Chiron and Aries. You know, it's like all lined up together in this precision moment, a perfect day. So that's the 19th, the 20th, because the 19th Mars comes, is coming to Saturn, but Mercury doesn't catch up till the 20th, and they'll all be together at exactly 7. 777, and of course the North Node will be at 7 degrees Pisces across the divide, into the old age of Pisces, but the new possibilities and the new dream, the Christ consciousness being reborn, informing the journey ahead. And it really does feel biblical, you know, like not the Bible as a story, but the Bible as a code. And that, some things you take, leave, resonate, but some things you'll go, oh yeah, that's a code. I see, I can receive that in my consciousness. And that's, in a way, it goes back to Mother Earth's original codes, right? Written. And so that code, that formula, that pattern is playing out. So we have to understand that it's like, it's a galactic war, and it's a biblical war, you know? But we've won. And I hope you feel this. I hope you can take care of yourself. She says, please have massive compassion first for yourself, for what you've gone through as a savior of the world. It sounds weird, but yes. And you're broken and in pieces, and you're a mess compared to what you could be in your glory. And so just be gentle and put yourself back together, and know that when you do heal, this will just be a memory. That it's not like this trauma nightmare that keeps calling, the trigger you keep getting triggered back into. You know, it won't exist in that way. It will be there as a memory, but like a story experience, not the emotional energies of continually triggered back into the persecutions of the Piscean age. It's over now. But we can't get out of it really until we heal our nervous system, unwind, and that means it's going to be haywire, and it's going to be all over the place, and you're going to feel really angry one minute, and you're going to feel really sad the next minute, and then the sorrow, the grief, the pissed off, and it's all just like that pure, true healing, cleansing crisis. And putting you in a position, of course, we know we had to go, the front runners, right, and go through it first, because we're going to be such a solid, stable base of love and compassion for human souls who have chosen to make the journey into the next place. And I can just feel so much, like on the other side of that veil, there's so much love and gratitude and appreciation for who you are and what you've done for us. I don't even know, though, how to even receive that and feel worthy of it and feel comfortable and go from being so hated and so judged to being so loved and adored, and everybody wanting something from you, you know. So just take your time in your own place right now, your wilderness, your cross to bear, as you rebuild your energetic field from the backdrop drama traps to the pop-out beautiful, glorious crystal castle. A very different way of walking in the world, but that is you demonstrating and owning your abundance And it feels selfish and egotistical. That's what they've told us. But the way we're doing it, it's not like Holly weird. It's just that true celebration. It's just the true essence. See, this is all we're going to be able to celebrate in the future. We can't celebrate the fake book, Facebook, Holly weird, like people with masks on, that there's no substance to back it up. We can only celebrate, the only thing that will exist, the only thing that will survive is something that has substance. And you, SuperNova Soul, have massive substance. Thank God you're here. And so, powerful energies right now. I also set a small group reading because of the intensity of that 19th, 20th time on the 19th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. That's Sunday the 19th, a small group reading. It's limited to 10 participants where we look at shared past life pictures. And those small group readings is where we get the information we really need and the clearings that can help the whole group. It's $100 to join, and we have a time to share afterwards. So consider joining that small group reading. And thank you so much for being with me. And if you can drop a donation, that'd be incredibly helpful. You know, just our world has not been able to recognize or support the level of wealth we bring. But I hope you know that I'm devoted to helping you and all of us bring forward this true wealth. And yet it has been difficult to survive in these times. And so if you can and are available to drop a donation, there's links in the donation, in the information box below. Or thank you so much for being a part of the SuperNova Soul Tribe. That gets you into every activation, the new and full moon activations. And also there's that Owning Your Energetic Field course. The replays are available. The goddess activation is still happening. We've gone through 4 pillars. We have 4 pillars left to go. What an incredible journey into the archetypes of the goddesses, helping us come into this connection and communion and worthiness for the benefits, the abundance that's ours, and our connection to Mother Earth, and to activate that creation energy, to feel worthy and to know we have this in our bodies. It's so powerful. So that's for women and men, but it's about accessing the creation energy in your very own body, and very powerful work. Most people don't even realize they have access to it. If you do, then it's typically chained in the lower chakras, unable to be accessed in the imaginal realm. So that work is really crucially important. The more people who are doing that work, SuperNova Souls, the more our whole soul group and the collective conscious can benefit. So that's a great way to support me in the movement as well. So links to join those classes or watch the replays of those below. I also have time and space for a few individual sessions, and that is where you can come and get the work directly, and leading into prerequisites to work in individual coaching with me. And it looks like for SuperNova Souls, maybe the path forward is to create this coaching training. Supernovas networking and coaching each other, developing coaching programs. It's a beautiful umbrella to put whatever skills and gifts you've accumulated into this platform that can allow you to work with people and in that empowering way. And people are really going to be looking for this. So consider being part of the coaching program as a way to train as a coach yourself, if that sounds, and a beautiful picture of a master group coaching calls where we can support each other in that work. So reach out for an individual session. All that information is on my website. But thank you so much for being here, being with me, being a SuperNova Soul. This is an incredible, powerful time. This week is maybe the most epic week of astrology in our lifetimes, or in mine so far. And so let's be present with it and own it, and own this reset. You know, see this vision that, yeah, all the resources have to go back to Mother's dream. And aren't you special that you have her dream in you? And they tried to gaslight it and torture it out of you and get you to accept a fake version of her dream. And you didn't. You kept true to your heart through everything you went through. And now you need to be rewarded. And what you're going through right now is your preparation to be rewarded and have everything that was stolen from you returned. And to accept it graciously. Know you deserve it. Because everything we get back, we know, is going to go right into projects to support humanity for the rebuilding and healing of Earth. And so it's almost like that picture of Mother Earth saying, yeah, I'm going to take back all this energy. I can store it in this pyramid for when we're ready to use it. And you can take this energy back and all this gifts and skills and downloads and your body's landing home and just store it till you're ready to use it, like it's there. But that means nobody else can access it or steal it. And it can be ready for when those systems are set in place and we have that green light go. Get the riffraff cleared up here and get through the straight, make it straight, the Strait of Hormuz, and take all the distortions of this world and make it right with the rod of the mother. Let's measure it against her and what she wants, and all comes back to right and good and true. And we deserve this. And a lot of people say, yeah, but we need the negativity. We need this. We need this. Yeah, we learned that way for a time, right? But if we don't have the other side of it, the redemption, the full expression of what we have inside of ourselves, the full expression of what Mother Earth wanted to become, then we did not win. It's like the birth chart of the SuperNova Soul. It'll say, oh, you came to do this and this. You want to clear this karma and get this all sorted out. But you didn't do anything here until you come into that expression of what's within you. That full expression. Then you have achieved and completed your mission. And so we can't give up now and be abducted away from organic, original Earth dream that needs to play out. And we're not going to accept anything else. We're not going to get a fake Earth, and we're not giving away our Earth, and we're not going to go on a simulation. We're not going to go on the spaceship. We want our organic, loving Mother Earth, and we're going to fulfill the prophecy. And that's the energy of this new moon. So on that day, the 19th, 20th, crescent moon in Venus, and Mercury, Mars, Saturn at 7 degrees, and Neptune at 2 degrees. Chiron at 26, at the bookends, saying restart. You can't go back. You can't go into the future until we reset, restart, 0 point, the Fool, go back to 0 and get back in a line. So you can't lose anything that's not true in this reset. But it's a great opportunity to drop all the faults. And that's a really cool energy. I mean, we can be the Fool and just trust, not be misled like we have been, but led by the master, the mother, the spirits, and play and be the Fool and be in that childlike innocence and trust again and play again and have mutual reciprocity and have a beautiful time expressing this individual creative expression within us. And that is what lies ahead. If we don't claim it, then we have not succeeded. So get ready in a righteous, just like the righteous anger that's come up, that's allow you to own your field, a righteous deserving of this massive abundance. Tell your mind that, because that's what's happening if we reset this code. And so, stewards, what you were here to steward and put as a steward, and your responsibility returned to you. And what if it turns out that's just our precious energy in our body, the most valuable wealth on earth? So incredibly powerful time, massive turnaround. And thank you so much for all you've gone through and being here. And let's just hold space together, be together. I hope to see you at that new moon activation live or on the replay. We're together and hold space through this. That the conjunction of Mercury, Mars, and Saturn will go through about the 25th. So it's like we're going to have like a week of that energy. And then the very last month of April is very powerful with Mercury square Jupiter and Venus coming up to a conjunction with Uranus. So that's kind of this really powerful thing on the 27th because Uranus is moving into Gemini. Venus is going to meet up with Uranus at 29 degrees. So it's kind of cool right now today. We're feeling the sextile with Jupiter. And that sextile is kind of pulling Jupiter. Come on, Jupiter, let's go. Let's move forward now. Bring the tsunami of love back to Earth. And then we've got Venus coming up to Uranus just before Uranus moves into Gemini. Same thing. And Venus is like, hey, there you are. All my advanced technologies that I didn't feel worthy of reinstated. And now we get to go sing the song, express the truth, express the beauty, express the love. In Gemini, come on, Uranus, let's go. I'm not scared of my inner power and my intuitive power anymore. I want to share it with the world. And so Venus comes up to Uranus on the 24th and then moves into Gemini on the 25th. And then Uranus moves into Gemini on the 27th. So that conjunction of Mercury, Saturn, Mars energy, reset, hooking in, landing home, like getting hopefully on the right track, that leads up. We'll feel that all the way. And then Venus and Uranus, and in her home sign of Taurus. So Venus is like, yeah, Mother Earth's reclaiming back her gifts. Mother Earth's reclaiming back. The end degree is a culmination. So Venus is saying, the higher technological gifts of Mother Earth and reflected in the technologies in our own body, free energy technologies, Mother's taking these all back now. The divine feminine reigns again in intuitive technologies used only in alignment with what's right and good and true. So that's the energy of the 24th, 25th. So it's really powerful. And at that same time, like I said, Mercury will be in his square with Jupiter. So it's kind of like what Mercury learned in the Piscean retrograde, square Jupiter. What understanding or misunderstanding is keeping us from this compassion coming back into our life? Right when Venus is ready to break the seal, The other thing that's happening at that same time, I can't remember. There's one other thing happening in that last week. Is it the sun? Yes, the sun square Pluto. So the sun will move into Taurus on the 21st and then be squaring up with Pluto, right when Venus meets Uranus and Mercury squares Jupiter. And it's kind of like, okay, what is in the way? What are you doing? It's kind of like just so many different, the astrology in this month and last month, it's been like so many different little things happening and it's hard to keep track of it all, and it's like ding, 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 silver bells and this dynamic and then that, and then now you can do this, now you can do that. So it's almost like I can see this big knot of yarn and life and timelines. And it's like, you want to get to the center, but you got to unwind. You got to get that knot out before you can get it all straight. And maybe that's opening this straight or blocking the straight in order to open the straight to make it straight. Make it right again. And so here we are. So that last week of April, really powerful in the triumphant return and claiming back of what's ours now that we hooked in to the right track. So use your mind as the builder to be like, this is the world, this is Mother's dream, everything's great. I mean, like I'm walking my abundance, and it's not affirmation. It's just your mind reprogramming your reality. Be neutral about it. That's what they say. One day to just say the words, the next day to feel the feeling of it, and then see it happen on the third day. So this is kind of the energy that we're in, and when we find out what we've been able to do with our consciousness, and then here we are, how long have we spent SuperNova Souls being like, I gotta figure out what I need to do. I gotta do something. I gotta figure it out. I gotta sort it. I gotta build it. And really, the benefit of what we've done mostly has come from our meditations and our prayers and our presence. So maybe we should just do more of that for this period of time of this very strange, complete rearranging of our reality. Just hold tight to what you know is real and true, because everything around us is upside down and inside out. So if it looks like it's just completely not right, that's because it is. It's showing us what is right. The big lies and the movie playing out and all the fakeness of it's really about showing us what's true and maybe the only thing that's true and the soul essence that you've held on to. through everything you've gone through. Thank you so much. So, very powerful times we're in here, and let's be present. I hope to see you on the activation, maybe the goddess activation, the new moon, Aries new moon activation on the 16th. The goddess activation is Fridays, and Sunday will be that small group reading. So thank you so much for being a part of the SuperNova tribe. And like we said, she said it's predetermined. Don't worry too much about the feeling of leaving anybody behind, because nobody's on the catastrophe timeline. And she says NPCs, or non-player characters, or people are not souled at this time, or don't have enough of a soul essence. You have to have one full true human soul on the catastrophe timeline, and she says we got them all off of it. So that means the NPCs have no reason to be there, which means the timeline is now defunct. That means that you don't have to feel bad about leaving people behind in their karma. And especially not because that pain you've carried in your heart for 2,000 years, you were carrying their karma. So it's easier for them. And you can go on and pursue your next chapter now that you've done your soul saving and the earth saving and all of this, right? Now the embodiment, what we've worked for, the inheritance, the Christ consciousness. We get to live and breathe it. And so that's why we have to know that every soul has made its choice before coming to this evolution of whether or not where they're going to go work out their next phase. And they're handled, and it's going to be harmonized. And you did that for them. And you can let go and release all the karma and the pain you might have been carrying in this sorrowful heart that's not yours. Because in your massive compassion, it was your love for those that had wronged you. That you couldn't bear to think of them having to have that karma come back to them. You're so strong and you're so powerful. And so be it. If we're saviors, you somehow pick ourselves up and be like, nobody's coming to save you. Get yourself up. And it's like, because we're the saviors, right? I mean, not in an egoistic way, but this is just what's coming forward. So thank you. And it's such an honor to know you. And I am so excited for the chapter that lies ahead. So please consider joining the SuperNova Soul Tribe, being with us energetically and the events, watching the videos, holding these concepts. It's so powerful. Just being a part of this energy and holding it in your consciousness is such a gift. So thank you so much for being here and for your support, being a SuperNova Soul. And I look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully at that activation, the goddess activation, small group reading, the next update. We're together as one organism in our heart and soul. And so thank you so much. And I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.